Thidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose by Dr. Seuss. And here's Thidwick. Thidwick wants to say hi. He's going to say hi to you. Give you a hug. Got pages here. There it says again, Thidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose. Up on a lake, Winnebago one day, they were lunching. They just strolling along, enjoying their munching. For the moose moss that day was especially fine. When it happened that Thidwick, the last moose in line, saw a bingle bug sitting, the bug called out, "Hey, it's such a long road, and it's such a hot day. Would you mind if I rode on your horns for a way?" So there he is. There's the bug, the bingle bug, way down there. "Of course not," smiled Thidwick, the big-hearted moose. "I'm happy my antlers can be of some use. There's room there to spare, and I'm happy to share. But my guest and I hope that you're comfortable there." So the bingle bug picked out a nice easy seat, and the moose went on looking for moose moss to eat. So there's some moose moss right there. Yeah. And let's see where the bug went, the bingle bug. It's way up there. Well, an hour or so later, the bug heard a squeak, and he heard the small voice of a tree spider speak. "I say," said the spider, "you've got a fine place. The moose seems quite friendly, has such a nice face. If I could go on too, do you think he would mind?" So there's the spider talking to the bug. "Hop aboard," laughed the bug, "and I think that you'll find that the moose won't object. He's the big-hearted kind." "I accept," said the spider, with joy and delight, and he started a web on the horn to the right. So there's the right horn. See, this would be the left. This would be the right. And look, start to spin his spider web. While the spider was spinning, he heard a gay song, and a fresh little zing-a-zoo bird came along. He stopped and he stared and he chirped, "Well, well, well, what a smart place to build. What a great place to dwell. I've been living on trees ever since I was born, but here's something new. Why not live on a horn? And there's room for two, and there's room for three, or for three." "There's plenty of room," laughed the bug, "and it's free." So here comes the bird, the zing-a-zoo bird. Thidwick stopped walking. What was all that talking? These guests had caught Thidwick the moose unawares. "Hey," he called out, "what goes on there upstairs?" So he's wondering, what's going on up there in my antlers? "Just building a nest, sir," the zing-a-zoo said, and began yanking hairs out of poor Thidwick's head. And he plucked out exactly 204. "Don't worry," he laughed, "you can always grow more. Look at that." So he's pulling out his hair. Looks like it's kind of painful. Then he dozed off to sleep in his fine moose-hair nest. "This bird," murmured Thidwick, "is sort of a pest. But I'm a good sport, so I'll just let him rest. For a host, above all, must be nice to his guest." See, finally got his nest made. There's our spider on the right and the bug on the left. Besides, now it's getting quite late in the day, and surely tomorrow they'll all go away. But at last, the next morning, the sun's early light brought to Thidwick's sad eyes a most unwelcome sight. "Meet my wife," said the bird. "I was married last night. And perhaps, by the way, I should mention to you that her uncle is coming to live with us, too. You're a very fine host, so I know you'd be willing." Oh my goodness, he got the wife and the uncle's coming. The moose doesn't know what to think. Then the uncle, a woodpecker, started in drilling. Oh no, the uncle was a woodpecker. So they drill into trees and with their beaks, and they drill into stuff. So his antlers, he's drilling right into his antlers. And Thidwick's friends shouted, "Get rid of those pests." "I would, but I can't," sobbed the poor Thidwick. "They're guests." "Guest indeed," his friends answered, and all of them frowned. "If those are your guests, we don't want you around. You can't stay with us because you're just not our sort." And they all turned their backs and walked off with a snort. See, there's all his moose friends. And they're saying, "What are you doing? What is happening?" Now the big friendless moose walked alone and forlorn, with 4 guests, big woodpecker holes in his horn. See, there's that woodpecker. Here's all those holes he drilled in his horn. "They're yours," called the woodpecker. Get right inside 'em. This big-hearted moose runs a public hotel. Bring your nuts, bring your wife, bring your children as well." So the whole squirrel family all jumped on him. Pell-mell. Look at that. So all the squirrels are in the tree, and they're jumping onto the moose. And they're jumping right into the holes that the woodpecker did. And the very next thing the poor animal knew, a bobcat and turtle were living there too. Now what was the big-hearted moose going to do? Wow, there's a bobcat and a turtle. Look at all of this. They're all living in these antlers. Well, what would you do if it happened to you? You couldn't say scat, because that wouldn't be right. You couldn't shout scram, because that isn't polite. A host was to put up with all kinds of pests, for a host, above all, must be nice to his guest. So you'd try to smile, and you'd try to look sweet, and you'd go right on looking for moose moss to eat. So he looks a little frazzled there, like, what's going on, but I want to treat my guest well. But now it's winter, and that wasn't easy, for moose moss gets scarce when the weather gets freezy. The food was soon gone on the cold northern shore of Lake Winnebago. There just was no more, and all Thidwick's friends swam away in a bunch to the south of the lake, where there was moose moss to munch. He watched the herd leaving, and then Thidwick knew he'd share if he stayed here. He'd have it too. He'd have to go too. So all of his friends, they're going across where there's more moose food across the lake. It's all snowy. The river's icy. He stepped in the water, then, oh, what a fuss. "Stop," screamed his guests. "You can't do this to us. These horns are our home, and you've no right to take our home to the far distant side of the lake." "Be fair," Thidwick begged, with a lump in his throat. "We're fair," said the bug. We'll decide this by vote. All choose in favor of going, say aye. All those in favor of saying, say nay." "Aye," shouted Thidwick. But when he was done, Nay, they all yelled. He'd lost 11-1. See, nay, a beer. They're all shouting. We win, screamed the guests by a very large score. And poor starving Thidwick climbed back on the shore. Then do you know what those pests did? They asked in some more. They asked in a fox who jumped in front from the trees. They asked in some mice, and they asked in some fleas. They asked a big bear in, and then, if you please, came a swarm of 362 bees. Poor Thidwick sank down with a groan to his knees, and then came something that made his heart freeze. See, here's all the animals. There's that big bear right there. So he just kind of sank down and lay down, didn't he? Bullets came whizzing right past Thidwick's face. Guns were banging all over the place. Get that moose, Thidwick heard a voice call. Fire again, and shoot straight, one and all. We must get his head for the Harvard Club wall. Excuse me. Thidwick took his heels with that load on his head, with 500 pounds on his horns. The moose fled. He could have run faster with all those pests. But a host above all must be nice to his guest. See, there he goes, taking off running. And here are all the hunters. Up canyon, off clough, over the rocky road trail, with bullets bouncing around him. Up gully, through gulch, and down slippery slosh, with his hard-hearted guest, raced the soft-hearted moose. There goes the moose with all the guests. Then finally they had him. Because of those pests, he had run out of luck. Because of those guests on his horns, he was stuck. He gasped. He felt faint, and the whole world grew fuzzy. Thidwick was finished completely. Or was he? Look, here they're all pointing at him. And there he is. Thinks it's stuck. Or was he? Finished. Not Thidwick. Decidedly not. It's true. He was in a most terrible spot. But now we remembered a thing he'd forgot. A wonderful something that happens each year to the horns of all moose and the horns of all deer. Today was the day Thidwick happened to know that old horns come off so that new ones can grow. And he called to the pest on his horns as he threw them. You wanted my horns, now you quite welcome to them. Keep 'em, they're yours. As for me, I shall take myself to the far distant side of the lake. So the antlers come off of the moose once a year, and so there they go. They're all falling off. Look at the bear. Look at the look on the faces of all the animals. All the moose and deer, their antlers fall off once a year. And he swam Wanabango and found his old bunch and arrived just in time for a wonderful lunch at the south side of the lake where there's moose moss to munch. So there's that moose munch right there. The moose moss. As old horns today, are where you knew they would be. His guests are still on them and stuffed as they should be. So somebody found these horns. But you enjoyed the book. Say bye, Thidwick. Yes, you knew the horns would come off once a year. Say bye, the hug, good heart. You can just click on the link below at homeschoolforlife.org for more books and resources. Thank you. Thank you, Thidwick.